Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are plugging away on Unit 5, and you guys are doing great. We've done a lot of cleanup stuff, and now what we need to do is we need to get into the CRUD. And so, what does CRUD stand for? CRUD is create, read, update, delete. So, when we look at these students, for the most part, that sums up what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to create students. We need to be able to read which students we have, like we have the search thing or this chart, and then we need to update it. If Jenny gets married, then she might need to update her name, or we might need to be able to update the balance, and then we need to be able to delete these kids out of here. Maybe they're going to graduate, or maybe they just quit, or whatever. We need to find a way to delete them without breaking the whole system. And so what we're going to do is we are going to embark on a new journey of looking beyond this page here where we add new students and this page here where we search for students. As you can see, there's not really much going on this page. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an entire new page. And so we're going to come over here and we're going to go to users, and then we're going to go to blank pages, project root, and we're going to duplicate, and then we'll come over here and we're just going to do students.php. So you know the drill. When we come here and do students.php, it's going to take us here, and we basically want the admin and the manager to be able to manage students. So we'll call this student manager, and we'll update, and then that will allow us to go to this blank page. So we've done a little bit with the CSS, and you see this column thing. This is our blank page. And so what we basically want to do is have, let's look at this code here for a second. We're going to snap. If we come here, we basically want to be able to have something like this on the left and the search students on the right. And so, but we also want it to be responsive to where we can have things look okay on a mobile phone. Now, this is not really the type of thing you probably are going to be doing a lot on a mobile phone, but we're going to make it possible. So let's start with our code. We have students.php, and basically we're going to have a left column, and then we're going to have a right column. And right column. Okay, so what we want to say is we want to say that if the thing here, if the page is on a small screen, make it 12, which is the entire width of the screen. Actually, no, we're going to say if it's on a really small screen, make it 12, which is the entire width of the screen. But if it's even on, let's say, let's try this. We'll see how it looks. 6, then, so if it's on a small screen, we're going to make it take up half the screen. So basically the tiniest screens, it's going to go full width. Anything a little bit bigger than that will still stay in 2 columns. Let's do medium. I'm struggling with that decision. So, okay, I can copy this here, and then now we have a left column and a right column. And so let's just make this real simple. We're going to do H1. This is the left. And then we'll take this one here, we'll copy it, and we're going to say this is the right. So the best way to know how that's going to work is to test it. And so we're going to go to students.php, and so basically we shrink, and then yeah, that's decent, because part of the thing we have to think about is that we're going to have charts on this thing. So we want it to drop down relatively easily to go to that size. So far that looks good. I feel pretty decent about that. We may decide to change that a little bit, but so far that's good. So what we want to do is we want to get our old functionality working. So we're going to go to new student.php, and let's see here. So this is from that form thing that we made, the new student thing. This is the one that we made. The very first thing we did was we made this display form thing. So what we're going to do is take this code right here, and we're going to copy it to the left column. So we're not processing anything at this point. We're just saying, and we're going to say create new student. Okay. Now, if I come back here, I think we can still snap. I'm gonna bring this a little further here. And there we go. So we'll snap this to the left. Oop, well, I don't know what monitor that went to. I have 6 monitors. I don't know if I've told you guys that, but there's 6 monitors, so things can go kind of all over the place. So if I come here, I have my new student form, and that looks fine. Like, that looks perfectly reasonable. So what we want to do then is take this whole thing, and we're probably going to have to make some changes to it, but we want to do the exact same logic if you are posting a form. So we're going to take all this, and we are going to put this in here. And now the only thing we're not going to do right now is basically display the form on the right. So let's see here. Okay, so that looks good. So what we'll do is we'll check to make sure the form still works. So I'm going to bring up the database. Let me do that off screen for a second. And I'm going to come in here to the Smart Scan database of students. And I got it. I'm going to bring it in here for a second. Okay, so if I were to make somebody called Cole Hamels with an RFID tag of Cole and a balance of $5, and I submit, then so what happened was it actually redirected to the old newstudent.php. So it did create Cole, but it didn't do what we wanted it to do, because instead it went here. So let's take a look and let's see what's happening. So if we look at this form, we're good. The problem is right here, this redirect to newstudent.php. So we want to change that to students.php. So instead of going to new student, it goes to students. And now we're going to do it one more time. We're going to go back there, and then we already have that guy in there. So let's say his brother Trent comes in, and his parents like him better, so he has $15. And we need a new RFID thing, so we'll just call it Trent. And we submit, and then if we look at the database, we can see that we should have a Trent Hamels. Great. Okay, so it's still creating. We haven't done anything yet to make to kind of show us that that person is in there, but that's fine. So all that's working. So now what we want to do is we want to take the code for the other page. So if we go to, let's see here, if we go to student search, then we have this. And so this is great. This is actually really handy, because if you look at it, let me show you what's going on here. So this form is posting on get, which is where it puts it in the URL. And this form is posting on post. So that basically means that we don't actually have to do anything to merge this code together. It should just work. So we're going to come here and we're going to copy this chunk of code over to here. And because this is get and this is post, it really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter which order they are. If get is sent, then this one will post. If post is sent, then this one will work. So perfect. If that makes sense to you. If not, just don't worry about it. It's a good thing. So now we have our form here, and we're going to grab our form, and we're going to take this. Let's see. Okay, so we already have this column small 6 thing. So, okay, we are going to take this, okay, and we have this section that says this is the right, and let's see what this one says. This one here says H2 create new student, so we're going to change this to H2, and we're going to say find a student, and we're going to paste this chunk right here. So if I save it and refresh this page, don't really like the way that looks, so let's give this a class of form control. And that's going to make it more like this one. Okay, but we're still missing this thing here. So let's give it a label. So if you look at the other one, let's see here. What did we do for a label on the other one? Oh, where am I at? Oh, you know why? Because that's from the form builder. So if I were to do, I think we'd have to do it like this. Let's do label, and then we'll put enter search. Let's see how that works. Okay, so that made them, basically the same type of form. And then I'm actually, let's see, the go thing is a little bit of a pain. So we'll probably leave that the way it is for now. I'll tell you what, let's do, we'll give it a class and we'll come back to that. So class equals button success. And what we may do later is come back and make that little button come up in here. That's a little tricky in Bootstrap, but we'll make that happen. So great, not perfect, not what we want long term, but that works. So now we have the ability to search for something. And in fact, if I were to type in grays or whatever, then you would see that grays is still up here, and that's good. But we're not displaying the form. So if we look down here and we see this if not empty search, so the thing is we already have this row down here. So let's think about how do we want to do this. So we can put the table here, but I don't think that's really particularly a great idea. I think we want to actually put the search results down here in this big space. So I actually think this whole chunk of code is perfectly good the way it is. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get all of it. So you can see that this is the beginning and end here. So we're going to grab this chunk of code and then we're going to paste it. Now what we're looking for is, see this div row here? We're going to add basically another row. And so we're going to come down here and paste that. So again, we're just using our existing code. And now if I were to type in Smith and go, this is all working. And so that's a good thing. We basically combine this thing. We can make new students. And so if I were to put Cole in here, we'll get Cole, and we got him twice because we got it by this and got it by that. So we've combined that thing into a page that's a little bit more useful. And then in the next video, we are going to take some time to do some CRUD. We're going to take some time to update and all that kind of stuff and be able to edit this information. So I will see you in the next video.